Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So now we come to the last phylum of kingdom Animalia. So Phylum Chordata. Animal in this phylum we call them as chordates. Okay. So around 530 million years ago, there were an immense diversity of invertebrates that inhabited the earth. During that time, predators used sharp claws and mandible to capture the prey. And somehow, many other animals have protective spike like echinoderm, as well as some of them has modified mouths to filter foods. Okay, but until 150 million years ago, vertebrate chordates existed, with vertebrate that derive from the word vertebrae. So vertebrae is series of bone that make up the vertebral column, or we call them as the backbone. Okay, so now let's explore animals in Phylum Chordata. Phylum Chordata have special characteristics. Okay, all chordates will show this characteristic either throughout their life cycle or parts of their life cycle, which are notochord, dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits, block of muscle, and post-anal tail. Okay, right. Okay, these are the characteristics. Like I mentioned just now, they show these characteristics, which are the dorsal hollow nerve cord, the notochord, pharyngeal gill slits, block of muscle, and also post-anal tail. Some of them will show this characteristic throughout their life cycle, but some might only show this characteristic throughout parts of their life cycle. Okay, now let's go and look at the notochord. All chordates embryo have a notochord, a longitudinal, stiff but flexible rod that provide internal support. This one. Okay, so the notochord located between digestive tube and nerve cord. So it lies down here. Right? It remained throughout the life history of most invertebrate chordates, but some of them, this structure will only present during the embryonic stage of the life cycle. Okay, next we go to the dorsal hollow nerve cord. Dorsal hollow nerve cord is a fluid-filled tube of nerve tissue that runs through the length of the animal, dorsal to the notochord, meaning it is located dorsally above the notochord. So the blue color is the dorsal hollow nerve cord, and the yellow one here is the notochord. The nerve cord of chordates embryo develop into central nervous system, including brain and spinal cord. So meaning that later during the embryonic development, the dorsal hollow nerve cord will develop into brain and spinal cord. It present in the chordates throughout embryonic and adult life. Okay, next we go to pharyngeal gill slits. Okay, pharyngeal gill slits allow water to enter the mouth and exit the body without passing through the entire digestive system. It's actually a pair of opening through the pharynx. Invertebrate chordate use them for filter food. Juvenile fish use them for breathing. Adult fish, the gill slits will then develop into true gills. As for reptile, birds and mammal, including tetrapods. Tetrapods are four-limbed animal or four-legged animals. The gill slit will be vestiges. Vestiges mean will be disappear and just occur during the embryonic development. So as it's vestiges, it will develop into parts of the ear or other structure in the neck or head region. Next, we go to the block of muscle and post-anal tail. So block of muscle, right, also called as myotome, it's surrounding the notochord and nerve cord of the vertebrate chordates. Okay, so the post-anal tail, the notochord, the nerve cord, and the myotome will extend toward the tail. It found at some stage of the life cycle of the chordate's development, although in many species it is greatly reduced during the embryonic development, meaning that in some other species the tail will vestiges or reduced. Okay, this is an example of a chordates, but a type of invertebrate chordates that known as Lanceolate. So Lanceolate will remain structured like this throughout their life cycle. Lanceolate is the earliest diverging group of living chordates nowadays. They feed on plankton and other suspended particles into their pharynx. Okay, so basically they buried themselves in the sand, okay, in the sand floor lah, deep in the ocean. Okay, they show all the 5 characteristics: pharyngeal gill slits, notochord, the dorsal hollow nerve cord, block of muscle, and also the tail. Another example of invertebrate chordate is tunicates. So you can see this is the juvenile or larva stage of the tunicate, and this is the adult tunicate. Okay, the chordate characteristic of tunicates are more obvious during the larva stage, where it shows all the characteristic of a chordate. As they develop and undergo metamorphosis, its tail and notochord will be reabsorbed and then disappear. The nervous system also will be degenerate, and the remaining organ will rotate 90 degrees. Okay, thus produce a structure like a siphon here. And next one is another example of vertebrate chordates. Okay, so the parasitic lamprey. Parasitic lamprey use their mouth and tongue to bore hole in the side of fish, and then ingest blood of other tissue of their host. Okay, so after the development of lamprey, then we have the evolution and become the lineage of fishes, other fishes that we ever know till nowadays, and then continue with the development of reptiles, amphibia, okay, and other animals that we ever know. Okay, so that's all for Phylum Chordata, and that marked the end of Kingdom Animalia. Okay, thank you.